The Twitchiest community has earned themselves a $1,000 bonus giveaway by reaching all of our goals with Guardian Tales. So go ahead and check out the description down below to go get your entries. The more ways you enter, the better your chances to win the $1,000, and keep your eyes out for opportunities in the future to earn more cash giveaways for the Twitchiest community. Hello everybody and welcome to your Puch mid lane guide. So we are going to caveat the Puch guides, as they always should be, by saying you probably shouldn't be playing the Puch right now. It is not necessarily his strongest meta, but if you're going to make him work, we do have a couple of strategies that can try and help you out. So Puch is going to be really weird on the start compared to most gods, but that is because our Puch is just very strange in order to try and make work in Conquest. So in order to make him work in Conquest, you have to go a tankier build, because you are going to be the priority focus of everybody around you, because you're just super easy to kill. So we're going to be starting off with our 3 on our Puch. This is actually our highest damaging ability at level 1. So we're going to be grabbing that. It's going to help out a lot with the red buff clear. And then we're going to move up to the wave, and we're going to use it on the melees so we can help our minions kill these melees extra fast. So our Puch's biggest problem is that he doesn't have a getaway skill, and he also is a mana hungry hippo. At level 2, we are going to get our 2, so that way we can explode our body if we so need to. Puch's big mechanic is that he can explode the bodies that he puts out. His 1 and his 3 both put out bodies. His 1 puts out 2 bodies. His 3 only puts out 1, and you can either explode those with your 2 for a bunch of damage, or you can pick them up by walking over them and you will regen mana and HP. So we are going to embrace that by building a little bit more mana and a little bit more HP in our build. So we've got the Vamp Shroud, which is going to give us some sustain. And we're going to go right into a Warlock Sash. Warlock Sash is actually an item that I think is just generically going to get better after the mid-season patch, when you no longer have to buy boots, because you're going to be able to get it started earlier, meaning you're going to be able to finish it earlier, getting it stacked earlier, all of that good stuff. So in that regard, Puch is actually going to benefit a little bit from the mid-season patch. Now I'm gonna actually hold on to my abilities right here, see if the Vulcan comes up. He is, and I think I'm actually gonna be able to grab this kill if I can land the auto, and I will be able to grab that first blood or first blooded. So the one thing that Puch does actually do, he's a lot like Zeus in this manner. Puch actually does damage. Your standard combo on our Puch is pretty simple. 1, 3, 2. The reason why you do it in that order is your 1 is a slow. So your 1 goes out, it's gonna slow, then your 3, and then your 2. Now you've got 3 bodies down for the big explosion, which, like we said, does extra damage per corpse. And you'll have the bleed on him at the end, helping you give just a little bit of that additional tick damage. Now, obviously, if you're running around picking up the bodies, you can't also be using them for corpse explosions. So the one choice you have to make on our Puch over and over again is, hey, do I want to be picking up the body for sustain, or do I want to be utilizing them for damage? So your choice between those two is basically, am I playing aggressive right now? If I'm playing aggressive, then I am going to be using the corpse explosion. Am I running away right now? Am I playing defensively? Am I getting ganked? You're probably just picking up the bodies. You're not quite as worried about the damage. Now, because we've gotten the first blood this game, we're actually going to be able to get the full warlocks on our first batch. Normally, you're going to have to finish the boot right now before you can get the warlock sash, but this is actually a nice little look forward into the next patch, because we are going to be able to go straight into our Warlock Sash and get those stacked. And then for now, we are going to get ourselves the Shoes of the Magi, which is going to give us a little bit of extra life steal. Obviously, those are going to be going away in the mid-season patch. You just skip the boot step and move on to the next items. So as far as maxing out level order on our Puch goes, I think the Puch Ultimate is not very good. It's this giant AoE zoning ability that would be pretty nice if it actually did more damage. The amount of damage that it does is just really lackluster. So in general, I grab 1 point into it, and I don't tend to get a whole lot more points until a little bit later towards the end of my build. So for a level order, always max out your 2 first. This corpse explosion is where you're gonna get a bunch of damage. Then I like to max out the 3 for the bleed damage, because this is going to go up really, really high. Then I do the 4 and then the 1. So I typically do 2, 3, 4, 1 on outpost. But I actually think that 2, 3, 1, 4 is also a viable strategy, just not ranking it necessarily up at all. Increasing the 1 will increase your slow as well. Which can help you grab a couple of those kills. In fact, you know what? This game, I'm just gonna do it to show you. I'm gonna do 2, 3, 4, 1, or 2, 2, 3, 1, 4, and actually level up that ulti last, just because I really do think that it is kind of lackluster.
Holy shit! You're on fire!
So,
Take left lane!
Puch struggles a lot in this meta. He's pretty much always struggled in Conquest. For the non-Conquest players, he might be like, why does Incon keep saying Puch is so bad? Like, he kicks my butt in their soul all the time. That's because he's actually really good in non-Conquest game modes, which is also the reason that Puch tends not to get buffed. He's one of the characters, a lot like Zeus, who tends to be quite oppressive. In like arena, in assault and stuff like that, but he just doesn't transition. His kit doesn't make the turn really well into Conquest, because he's kind of just damage on damage on damage, and that's really all that he thrives at. And in Conquest, you're needing a little bit more. So his only form of CC is gonna be the slow on his 1, unless you get some other form of CC. Like a Gem of Isolation. A lot of people like to get that Gem of ISO on him. Gonna try to kill this Vulcan really quick. It doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to get us. This Brutalize is actually gonna go ahead and take me down. Maybe should have actually picked up the bodies right there instead of going for the damage, but I thought I'd be able to instant kill the Vulcan before I died. Gotta grab myself another sentry ward out here as well. Always, always, always be buying wards on Puch. Always. It'd be placing them out defensively. Defensively means these bottom spots. You don't need the aggressive wards on Puch. You really shouldn't be up that far anyway. So place them out to your left and your right. Typically, the sentry ward is going to be better off on the Gold Fury side. Because you are going to get a little bit more vision around the Gold Fury, which is typically going to be the earlier objective that you are trying to complete. So I'm going to throw down this defensive sentry over here on the left-hand side. It's also going to be good for getting that early vision to defend my red buff in case people wanted to try to invade your red, which is a very popular early game snowball tactic, is to steal the mid laner's red buff over and over. So we don't have a true getaway skill on the Puch. We do not have a CC immune ultimate. We have neither of these things, which is very hard for us to deal with. So what are some gods that do really well against us? Well, because we don't have a getaway skill of any means, it means that Fenrir Brutalize pretty much wrecks us into the floor. Because there's simply nothing we can do about it. It also means that anybody that have displacements do super well against us. So an Ares ulti, we have to use our beads every single time in order to get out of the Ares ult. A Fenrir ulti, gotta use our beads every time. Sobek pluck, Kepri pluck, anything that is going to displace our character. A Gilga kick. All of those do really well against us because they bring us out of position. And they don't even have to work that hard for it. Gonna throw down my ultimate here defensively, as well as a couple of bodies. I'm gonna try to use those bodies to heal up a little bit, turn around and just use my 2 for the life steal effects. Gonna just keep using these bodies right now to sustain up, and you can see that I am actually staying alive right now versus this Ares because of the bonus sustain that I have from all of my bodies, and now I actually might be able to turn this around and grab the kill. So that exact situation that we were just in is why we build Puch this particular manner. A little bit of life steal from the Vamp Shroud and from our boots, the extra HP from our Warlock Sash, and we can actually live through that engagement. You'll also see the amount of HP that I am regenerating right now is quite high, and that is because those bodies that you pick up, the regen that they give you is percentage. 3% maximum mana, 7% of maximum health. So if you have more health, you're going to get more back because it is a percentage of total health, which is why we like the HP investment on the Puch. Now that I'm level 12, I'm gonna back up and get myself that egg.
They can't touch you. Enemy ultimate
Of course,
down.
walls are gonna be really good against us on Puch. A Ymir wall, a Thor wall, anything like that. Because we don't have movement ability, we're gonna be stuck in the jungle. So walls wreck us. A lot of CC wrecks us. People that can immunity frame damage. A Wheelix Feather Step, Raven 2, Chang'e 2. All of our damage on Puch is thrown into one big burst damage. You've got to do your 1-3-2 combo in order to get your damage off. It basically all happens all at the exact same time. So if you can avoid the Puch explosion, you pretty much wreck him. So there's just this giant list of gods who all do so well against Puch. So you just have to be so extra careful on him. One more thing that you should know about Puch is that every time you pick up a body, it reduces the cooldown of your 1 by 2 seconds. So we do want CDR on Puch. It's just gonna take us a little bit to get there because we have to get some of the early HP in regen going, but we're going to be going into that third item, Soul Gem, kind of the best of all worlds. We're going to get a little bit of life steal for spamming our abilities. We're going to get a little bit of CDR and a little bit of bonus damage for our combo, which we basically use all at once anyway. Another thing that you should know about Puch, you can pop your 1 at any time. So your 1 has this giant length that it has to go, but it works just like a E-set Spirit Ball, meaning that if I want to pop it, I just click it again, and it pops right on the location that it is at. This is especially useful for when you're trying to run away and place yourself down some bodies in order to sustain up. Gotta have to pop a little preemptive beads here, throw down an ultimate as kind of a deterrent. I need to stay outside of the Ares ultimate range. He has shell, not blink, so he won't be able to blink onto me, which is at least kind of nice. They are diving pretty heavily here. I hope we can go for this chalk, do a little 3-2-1 combo. Good Nezha Sash is gonna keep him inside of that area. And net ourselves another kill. Now I really need to back myself up, get myself that Soul Gem. Continuing to work on our CDR, I'm going to get myself into a Spear of Desolation. Spear of Desolation pretty much is always a good item. The one nice thing about Puch is that you never need to buy anti-heal We're not really against healers this game. I mean, Shock, a little bit self-sustained, Fenrir, HP 5, stuff like that. But Puch has anti-heal on anti-heal on anti-heal. Your 1 has 40% anti-heal. Your ultimate has up to 60% anti-heal. So that's literally 100% anti-heal built into your kit because those will stack together. Not to mention your 3, that bonus damage on the 3, this is the damage per tick. This is additional damage. That additional damage comes into play if the opponent heals while it is on them. So this enemy team isn't really ever going to proc that because they don't really have healing. But if you were going against a Hell or a Chang'e or a whatever, doesn't matter,
Your right tower is under attack.
and they use that heal, they are going to take bonus damage and actually get stunned from Fleeting Breath. It's one thing that Puch is really good at, and that is damage and anti-healing. So if you're going against a team that has some crazy form, I gotta go ahead and throw down my ultimate. Gonna throw down my bodies right there. Gonna try to throw some more bodies towards myself. I'm just gonna keep picking up these bodies. Gotta keep my Aegis up just in case I got brutalized. Not gonna get brutalized though. And luckily I'm gonna be able to use up these bodies for some more sustain. I'd like to make a shout out to a combination of Warlock Sash and Soul Gem for keeping me alive through these situations. Also, in this case, a really good Nezha ultimate. But now Heim is over here. Oh, actually, our Nezha got launched to the other side of the wall, which was very convenient for him. I'm going to go onto the Vulcan right here. Just going to kind of continue to pick up my bodies, hope that with the 2 by itself and my bleed will be enough damage, and it will. I'm going to pop that 1 a little early. Just keep picking up my bodies over and over again so I get the sustain, plus I get the lower cooldown, and just try to keep areas slowed as long as I can. So we're not really going to go a ton of lifesteal on Puch. We just have a little bit for the early stages of the game for our sustain. But this is not a Bancroft's Typhon's Fang type of character like you would on a Anubis or a Hades, something of that sort. And in fact, this Vampiric Shroud, there's a good chance that we're going to sell it in the late game. The Blood-Soaked Shroud doesn't make a ton of sense for us. The Sacrificial Shroud certainly doesn't make sense for us. We don't need to be killing ourselves anymore than we're already going to be in trouble dying. But it does help us get through the early game, so we are going to be selling that in the late stages of the game and just grabbing ourselves a separate item. Now, it can be kind of rough as a mage because there are really good starter items for mages. Sands of Time and Conduit are just so good. But on Puch, I really feel like if you're not getting that Vamp Shroud, you're just putting yourself at such a crazy deficit. Now, I got my bleed on that Vulcan, so he should die from all of that. I need to get myself another defensive ward out on that right-hand side. Keep in mind, your bodies can be killed by the enemy team. This is not like a Persephone plant where they just sit there for forever. The enemy team will walk up and get rid of those bodies if they are smart. Gonna grab that Spear of Desolation. This is fantastic. I've now got a very solid amount of CDR, and I'm gonna bring myself into a Mantle of Discord. So you can see this is very defensive in nature. Really focused on staying alive. Because I've got some of the bonus built in sustain, you really have to embrace that on Puch.
Your right tower.
Because if you don't, I promise you will just sit there getting dove under your tower and dying. Your best case scenario is getting dove under your tower and trying to live. Regardless, you're getting dove though. If you picked him, you're getting dove. So we're going to get that Mantle of Discord, and then we are going to sell our Vamp Shroud. This is going to bring us up to 30% of CDR, which means we'll be at 40% with a red pot. And our last item does not inherently need that CDR on it. Now, obviously, we don't have a lot of things right now. like percent pen. And that's just because it's kind of the nature of Puch. You just don't have a ton of room in your build for this kind of stuff. So at the very end, we are going to be grabbing ourselves a Karen's coin, which can give us some extra movement speed, some extra HP 5, which can technically help us continue to live. And as much as it would be nice to get it earlier in the build, the absolute earliest that you're gonna be able to build it on our Puch is gonna be right now as your 5th item here. And that's just because of how many other items that you have to get on him in order to even have a chance at living. So you could get it right here in this 5th slot, but any earlier and you're just going to be too much of a sitting duck.
Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower.
Gonna move myself over to our red buff. Level 20 is acquired. Now normally you would back and of course finish your starter item, but that is not actually relevant on the Puch because we are going to be getting rid of that starter item regardless. I'm actually pretty big this game. 7-1. You're probably not going to be this big when you play out Puch normally, but we're going to embrace the fact that we are actually bigger right now. And so instead of finishing up this Mantle of Discord, I'm going to back up, sell my Vam Shroud, and actually get that Karen's coin online right now, just so we can start to get it stacked as we're moving into the team fight stage of the game.
I got your back, brother.
Excellent upgrade.
Then we'll work on finishing up our Mantle of Discord. Get that red pot, 40% CDR, and spam some bodies. So a lot of the time, you're going to see in these fights, when I'm getting focused on, I'm not going to be using my 2 almost ever. Your 2 is almost strictly an aggressive ability. So if I'm getting dove on, chances are I'm just pressing my 1 and my 3 and running over them over and over again to lower the cooldown on my 1 and get that sustain, because I'm going to need it. They got a full party coming towards you, boy. I'm gonna have to go ahead and pop an Aegis, get on the other side of this, try to pick up as many bodies as I can. But if they decide to use 5 ultimates in a 5v4 against the Puch, you're probably gonna go down if you don't have your beads up. Not much you can do about that one. You gotta buy yourself another Sentry Ward, continue to work on that Mantle of Discord. So this composition is actually a great composition of something you don't want to go against as Puch. The one notable exception is actually Vulcan. I do like going against Vulcan in terms of the mid lane matchup, and that's because all he has to get away from your explosion is his backfire. And oftentimes the backfire is not going to be long enough to get out of your explosion radius. So if you can hit Vulcan with the 1, chances are you're actually going to hit him with the corpse explosion.
Your middle tower has been destroyed.
Compared to a lot of other mid laners, even a Kukulkan who doesn't have a traditional movement ability, just having that bonus movement speed is enough oftentimes to get him out of that range. Anybody with a leap or a dash of any significant distance, good luck. You're never gonna hit it. So for your pairings with Puch, as far as the god you want to pair with him, you're just looking for anything that can keep him alive. Setup is nice, like the Nezha combo's not bad. If he takes somebody into the air, I can 1 and 3 on the floor, have the bodies ready to use the 2 with. Like, there is a decent bit of burst follow-up, but more so than anything, I want something that is able to peel. I want a Khepri, I want a Geb, I want something that's got CC in the jungle, so Nezha works fine because he can sash and ulti and peel for me as well. But you're just looking for anybody that can give you some assistance. Shields from a Gab are great. Shells on your team, heavenly agilities, all of that stuff is nice. The more, the merrier. No such thing as too much peel when you're the Puch. That's gonna be bead down on Heim. That's very nice, actually. With the beads in my one, I should be able to actually grab that kill. Just gonna throw down the 3 on the 4 so I can continue to sustain up. I've got some bodies over here that I can go pick up as well, so I'm gonna use those aggressively for clearing. Now I'm probably gonna get jumped on by a little Fenrir, I imagine. There it is. Gotta throw down my 1 defensively. Now that brutalized, there's just nothing I can do about it. So I'm pretty much guaranteed to tank that 800 damage on brutalize every single time, plus the 600 on the airy shackles. The Mantle of Discord will help a little bit with that situation as well. So in the late game, as I push, generally you're going to be wanting to stand pretty far back. The problem with that is you can't super utilize walls on the map defensively the way the other characters can, because so much of your kit is based around your 1, and your 1 does not go through walls. You can throw your 3 over walls, you can explode your 2 over walls, your ultimate will go through walls, everything except for your 1, but your 1 is what puts down the double bodies, it's what slows people, and it's kind of the whole setup for your kit. Which means that typically you're gonna need that line of vision on a target. Now you can do a little bit of poke over a wall with a little 3-2, especially if it's on a squishier target. Like if I hit Heim with a 3-2, maybe it does 40% of his HP, and that's nice and respectable. But for your big outpost damage, you really need to hit the 1, which means you need to have line of sight, which means you can't be utilizing those map walls maybe as much as you would like to be able to. Now at this point, I don't really care where we group, but we should be grouping together. So I'm just gonna call for attack left lane. Honestly, we should be shoving the mid lane because we'd be closer to the fire giant because they can just run over and do the fire. But as long as we're kind of grouped up, I don't really care what we're doing. Little chocolate. Chocolates keep falling on my head. Gotta pick up the body so I won't be dead. Gonna use a little 1-2 combo there on our friend Fenrir. That's gonna bring him down. Hitting the Puch as much as I can, waiting for my 1 to come back up. Now I'm gonna throw down the 1 his way. It's gonna slow him down. He uses Aegis, that's fine. I didn't use the explosion anyway. I was just picking back up the bodies for the cooldown. And unfortunately now we gotta go defend against all of these Oni creeps around the map. So I'm gonna go defend mid, and then maybe I can back up defend right as well. Looks like we're gonna get that left T2 though, which is quite nice. So another thing that Puch is actually good at is fights around phoenixes. The reason why he's good around fights around phoenixes is the same reason that Kukulkan, Merlin, those types of characters are also good in that situation. And that's because it's where his ultimate actually becomes useful. For the most part, you can just run right outside of his ulti. And you can't really do anything about that as outpost. They walk outside your ulti, you go, oh darn, that's a bummer. But if you are either assaulting a Phoenix or getting your Phoenix assaulted, you can throw down that ultimate and it's gonna cover up the entire pathway. And so you can block off that Phoenix for the entire 5 seconds of the ability. This is also really good for when they're trying to defend a Phoenix and you throw it out and they can't come into range of their own Phoenix. Getting somebody to stand in the full 5 seconds, the damage actually does become decent. This is why some people like to get the Gem of Isolation on Puch, but honestly, it's such a bad item in general that takes up an item slot. Unless you get to the very end of the game as like a 6 item, maybe once the new season comes out and you can, you don't have boots, you have the extra item slot earlier, there might be an argument for picking it up. But right now, unless you're really going like 6 item deep, I would not recommend it. I just gotta throw down bodies on bodies on bodies for myself to try to stay alive right here. Our Anner is splitting over and left. On Fort right there, I'm gonna have to just turn around and go for the fight. Thought the Fenrir was gonna brutalize me instantly, he didn't. And also, there's all 4 members of the team right there. We did get a Phoenix over in left lane, which is nice, because that is the farthest away from the fire giant, but our Anner has to live right here, otherwise the game is over. But he did live, and so he's gonna be able to back up, and I don't actually know if they're gonna be able to end with him over there. It's gonna be close. They do have full 20 seconds. At this point, I'm gonna make sure that I'm basically buying a red pot on every death. So that way I've got the full 40% CDR always. I probably could have turned around and killed that Fender there if I played that a little better. I preemptively Aegis because I thought I heard the jump. I was like, oh, and the seething howl. I was like, oh, he's just gonna brutalize. But he actually waited on it. So what I should have done is I shouldn't have preemptively Aegis. Should have just thrown down some more bodies at my feet. Then when he actually brutalized, go for the Aegis, turn around, use the 2. Plus he was low on HP, which is why I think he actually didn't brutalize in the first place. And then I probably could have turned around and gotten that kill before I died, and at least made it a 1-for-1 trade. Now at this point, we gotta go ahead and defend. So we should be defending on our Phoenix. We lost the right side Phoenix, they lost the left side one. So we did actually get the better Phoenix trade deal, which is nice.
Yes.
Now we basically just sit back on our Phoenixes. No point to defend tier 2s at this point. The money just simply isn't relevant. Our Neza's a little crazy being up there. I mean, as much as that would be a nice pick, it would be nicer to have all of us over by the Phoenix for the defense, because now instead of being a 4v5, it is going to be a 3v5, which is just going to make it that much harder. Get out a defensive ward over here in front of our door. I'm going to back up, grab another sentry ward, and put that same ward on our side of the door, so at least we've got some decent vision here in the left. That right side is pushing itself in pretty hard. Looks like Anher is going to go deal with that. I'm going to throw out some preemptive bodies near my Phoenix. Unfortunately, they can simply auto attack those bodies to kill them, but sometimes distracting them with some bodies to auto can still be worth. Just make it a little bit harder for them. Now they're going to try to rush this, I would imagine. There it is. They are going to try to rush it, so I need to throw down my ultimate. I have to wait to beads, of course, until after all of the Ares stuff. Trying to get as much damage on this chalk in the backline as I can. I did get hit by that Vulcanol before my Aegis went off, which is a bummer. Maybe we can kill that chalk with a 1-2 combo. Not quite going to be able to kill him. We need to heal up back in our Phoenix. Fenrir ultimate is going to be down. He's actually going to dive way too far for that. And this is not going to be a bad little fight for us anymore. Going to use my 1 and my 2 near the Vulcan. Not quite going to get him. He's actually a very speedy Vulcan right now. It looks like Heim is going to go get that mid Phoenix as well. Not much we can do about that at this point. Not going to use my explosion because I want to continue to use my 1 right now over and over again. So I'm just going to use the 2 kind of by itself. Unfortunately, he's just got way too much built-in movement speed with his passive for me to catch up to him. So he is going to go ahead and get out of that one. At this point, 4v5. 3 Phoenixes down. Not much we can really do. Other than hope they do some sort of major throw. So we're just walking around. We got to clear out all of these fire waves. The next fire giant is enhanced. So if we can get those waves pushed up and somehow be ready to defend, maybe there's some sort of situation where we can steal the enhanced fire giant. and then go for a quick counter end. We've still got 2 people pushing up left. They actually might be able to get the left Phoenix as well. Gonna throw down a little ward over here, not even on the fire giant, just so they can't see where I am. Fenrir is here, unfortunately. Let's see if I can get a little bit of bleed damage on him. That's something. They killed the primals. They probably got actually their ADC over by the gold, which means he's not by me. Not so bad damage there onto the Fenrir. I gotta throw down a little bit of a defensive ultimate right here. Give myself some bodies to work with. Continue to sustain it up. We are gonna get that pick. Fenrir's now trying to go in pretty hard on the back line. I'm gonna see if I can't go for the Vulcan. I know his Aegis is down because he had used it earlier. I need to somehow live through this huge pickups by our Ant. Her Chalk ultimate is obviously down. Our Phoenixes are coming back up soon. We're gonna hit the Chalk with a little bit of a wombo combo here. He is gonna proc the 3, and now we probably needed to shove down middle lane. The fire giant has spawned. Left Phoenix is gonna go down to creeps. I'm actually gonna call for fire giant. I feel like if we go for the enhanced fire here, we at least have a shot at elongating the game. We're never gonna be able to run it down and end, unfortunately, because of the Heim's 10-second timer. But what we can do is we can try to grab this enhanced fire giant and then try to back up before our Phoenixes respawn. And if we can get all of our Phoenixes up with the enhanced fire giant in our hand, then we do have a shot at actually going for like a Phoenix shove. Looks like we are going to be able to get left up. We got mid push out, so we're going to get all 3 Phoenixes out. This is best case scenario. Best case scenario for us. I'm actually not going to sell my boots for another item this game. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 3K, and then I'm going to back up and grab myself a 3K pot. That 3K pot hopefully bring enough damage to the table to actually put away the fight. Ooh, this is actually a very aggressive Heim. We might be able to get a pick here. He's gonna be bleeding out. This is huge. We need to actually utilize this and shove up. I'm gonna say to attack left lane. We want to be shoving the lane farthest away from the fire giant, of course. I need to back up and grab this 3K pot and another sentry ward, but that is a huge pick right there onto the Heim. Fenrir was lasting over in right lane. Looks like they've got a good amount of creep, so I actually have to defend this. I'm going to sit over here by the Phoenix. I'm still going to call for the attack left lane. I'm just going to kind of be sneaky, trying not to show myself in case the Fenrir is coming this way. There we go. Got to push up more than I needed to. Counter ward this over here.
Attack.
Maybe we can group up and shove down through mid. That is fine. I don't really care. All I know is we actually bought ourselves a moment here. It's a good collapse right there onto the Fenrir, who is all the way over on our side of the jungle. If we pick up that Fenrir, that would be massive. That would be make it a 4-4. No, we're not going to be able to. Dang. We do have to actually go for the shove, though, while we have this enhanced fire giant. We've got the creeps coming up. I got to be really careful about my usage of beads. Like, really careful. I have to wait for the Ares pull before I use it. We got another minute and a half. As any poke damage that we can get out right now is nice. Get rid of the stupid Vulcan turrets. More poke damage on the Ares. Shock going very aggressive here, so I'm gonna have to turn around on this one and go for my ulti. Unfortunately, I got silent for so long, and I can't afford to beat the Chalk silence. So it's gonna be up to the boys. They should be able to at least get the Ares right there, though. If they can keep Anher alive, it's Operation Save Anher. No, they were not able to. But Nezo's going in the back line. He might be able to pick up the Vulcan if he gets a nice little ring toss off right here. No, but he misses the ring toss. Doesn't matter. Landed the auto. I don't actually think they're going to be able to counter end regardless. Wild. Now, luckily, 3K pots last all the way through death, so we can just back up, grab another sentry ward and another red pot. We're up in 20 seconds. We've lost the enhanced fire giant, but we technically have all 3 of our phoenixes up. Technically. So at this point in the game, I'm literally just looking for any target, any squishy that I can blow up with my combo. Unfortunately, because they've got the Fenrir and the Ares, I can't beat anything but one of those 2 ultimates. If I beat anything but one of those 2 ultimates, it means I'm just gonna get immediately killed right afterwards by one of those. So I have to hold on to it for the life of me. Even if I'm basically gonna die, it doesn't really matter. Because I guaranteed die if I don't use it on one of those 2 things. So we're gonna need to get wards out by the fire giant. We should be contesting for the next enhanced fire. They do have a ward on it. I don't know who is over here, but I did see somebody. Ooh, that ward actually didn't see the other ward. This is kind of awkward. Fenrir jump is down, so see if I can get us a poke on him. That forces him to use his beads, actually. That's fine. Get rid of all of these Oni creeps coming down. Now I gotta be careful about my positioning. This is pretty far forward, but we did force Fen beat him. Fen beads down. That is good. They have a ward on this, which is kind of awkward because you can't really see that they do, but they do. Now we've got to go deal with Oni creeps out in every lane. So I'm gonna quickly go deal with these Oni creeps over in mid. Unfortunately, somebody's gonna have to go deal with those Oni creeps over in left as well, or they will run down and take that Phoenix. But they're actually not going for the fire giant. It's really on them to make the play. They've got their Fenrir over in left lane. I mean, if we can try to find a way to gank him, even if they get the EFG, it would still be not a horrible little trade for us. We just need to grab anybody. He might just bleed out from that. I think he is going to. Now we need to go over to the fire giant. We have to contest this. We need to get all up in their business. I got a Heim coming my way. I'm gonna try to give him the old explode adorable. I'm gonna throw down my ultimate right now. He is gonna go down. I'm gonna re-pull onto the fire giant. 1, 3, 2 combo. Not quite gonna get it because the Vulcan ulti from back over the wall. We need to continue to fight this. We do not have a choice. I don't know if the Vulcan actually knows that I'm here. He does not. Can't quite reach him for the 3. I do have to continue to go on this, so I'm gonna try to bait it with my Aegis right there. Oh, I don't actually know if I hit him with that 3 or not. I think I did. I don't know if he's gonna bleed out. Just not quite enough to kill him. Now I need to use all of my bodies to quickly sustain back up, because we don't have a choice but to try and shove this down the middle lane. We've only got 3 of us up. We lost our Nejah, so we're gonna be able to grab a Phoenix with that seemingly it right now. Unfort. We can actually turn around on this chalk. Oh, unfortunate. We're gonna get double Vulcan ulted, and that is actually gonna be the end of this game. So at the end of the day, without Puch, you're looking to get yourself a lot tankier than you normally would be on a mage, because you have to put yourself a lot farther forward than a lot of other mages are going to have to. Plus, you have absolutely no way to peel for yourself inherently within your kit. So you're going to have very, very wise utilizations of your actives. So you're gonna have to make sure you're keeping those up for the most important ability guys, and you're gonna be able to do just fine and dandy on your outputs. At the end of the day, I wouldn't necessarily recommend playing the Puch in Conquest, definitely for your other game modes, but inside of actual Conquest himself, particularly with the all party lane middle all the time right now, it tends to be quite difficult to play him. But nobody says that Al Puch can't do damage, guys, and that is our Al Puch of mid lane guide. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.